Hey everybody, it's Max J. Miller, co-author with Robert Hollis of the upcoming How Is That Working? And the last couple of days I've been sharing with you about the most common excuses that serve sort of like quicksand to hold people in their present situation. And unfortunately, as quicksand works, they draw them in until, and even if you struggle a little bit against it and so forth, you know, it just draws you deeper and deeper. And I want to talk a little bit about why that works and why that happens, that these common excuses. And remember, I said that the most common excuses are, you know, I don't have the resources or the money, I don't have the time, and I don't know how, or I don't have the skills, or I'm not somehow otherwise prepared for, you know, making this dream come true, whatever it is. And so here's the most important piece of why that quicksand sucks, you know, why those excuses suck the life out of us. One is that they're common. In other words, we all have these excuses. We're all busy. We all have, you know, allocated our resources, and we all feel as though, you know, we're limited in terms of what we have to offer, and we're doing our best. So when somebody shares one of these excuses with someone else, when you say, well, you know, the reason it's not happening or whatever is because I really don't have the money or the time or whatever, you find agreement. People say, oh yeah, I know what you mean, I feel bad for you, it's like that, oh yeah, right. And so there's this kind of collective conspiracy to keep us in place, and that's part of the quicksand. So let's break it down just a little bit. The first kind of excuse that we're dealing with falls into the category of what I call resignation. That is, all three of those excuses that I described can be described of when they're referring to yourself as resignation, which is simply, it's not going to happen. I can't do it. Not this time, not in these circumstances in my life. And that spirit of resignation is really what the enemy is. Why it takes desperation or inspiration is because that spirit of resignation starts to permeate all aspects of our lives. The problem is not that we lack the money. The problem is that we believe the lack of money will stop us. The problem is not that we lack the know-how. The problem is that we believe that the lack of know-how is going to impede us from our dreams. It's the belief, not the fact. You know, there's a fact, you have so much money in your bank. That fact is not affecting your reality at all. It's the belief about it. It's your understanding that, you know, for that reason, you're not going to achieve your dreams. That's the issue. So the enemy is the resignation. What's stopping you from fulfilling your dream is the resignation. And very similar to resignation is cynicism. It has a tendency to look out towards others. And when somebody says, hey, I'm going to lose this weight, you know, we go, been there, done that. That's cynicism. Right? That cynicism is basically being stuck in the same belief systems and sort of pointing at somebody else and saying, you know, they're going to run into a brick wall because I've been there, I've done it, right? And so, you know, resignation is saying, I can't make a difference. And cynicism is basically saying, and they're not going to make a difference either, right? Or sometimes it's towards another, like, you know, somebody meets a mentor like Robert, and the voice of cynicism comes up and says, you know, he's probably just like so-and-so, or just like this other, you know, con artist that came through and did such and such. People, these thoughts come up, and they're striking out at someone else who's attempting to make a difference and undercutting them, right? That's the enemy. Now, is the fact that, you know, there have been these charlatans or whatever, that doesn't matter. What's actually happened in the past, that doesn't matter. What matters is how we're viewing it in the present. That spirit of cynicism, that's the quicksand. That's pulling us down. And so let me back up a little bit. There's a quote that I love about the resignation, which is and about all of this, which is attributed to Will Rogers. He says, "If it ain't what you don't know that gets you in trouble, it's what you know that just ain't so." And that's what I mean by having these beliefs and being so confident and sure that I can't do it because, and Will Rogers is saying that's what's getting you in trouble, because you think you know, but it ain't so. And another quote that I think is really relevant was from Mahatma Gandhi, and this applies a little bit more towards the cynicism side, when he was, bringing about a peaceful revolution that allowed India and Pakistan to have their freedom, independence from Great Britain. And he said, "To believe what has not occurred in history will not occur at all, ever, is to argue disbelief in the dignity of man." In other words, you really don't understand what's in a man, a person, a human being, if you think that it's all a straight line, that what's never happened will never happen. You're not understanding that human beings are change agents. Human beings make things happen, and you have that as well. If you don't buy into this belief of cynicism and this belief, this spirit of resignation. And the third thing is complacency. And very simply, complacency is just getting a little too comfortable with the way things are. And in order to be complacent, in order to really kind of sink into the quicksand of complacency, you have to kind of blind yourself or put the blinders on a little bit to the world around you. To say that, these things don't matter, like whether or not I fulfill these dreams don't matter. You're going to wake up someday and face the regret of that point of view, of that choice. And so the idea of the desperation or inspiration is to as they say in AA, bring the bottom up. Don't wait for you to hit bottom, bring the bottom up. It's about really being able to recognize the consequences of this pattern in the future. That if I keep going in this direction, I'm going to face desperation, or I'm going to face desperation. And so the inspiration is here's somebody who I think has really given me a possibility, an option, and I'm going to run with it. It takes a risk and so forth. But so again, I'm always going to come back to those same two things, inspiration or desperation. But what you really want to tell yourself the truth about is the fact that you're in quicksand. The fact that if you hear those sounds in your, those voices in your head that are saying, I'll never be able to do this because, or they'll never do that, that person's trying but they'll fail. The voices and the spirit of resignation and the cynicism, look down because your feet are in quicksand. And you want to see the future. You want to look out into the future and say, if I continue to believe this way, where is that leading me? What is the result of that? And see if you can't stir up that fire of desperation or inspiration in yourself by doing that. Well, thanks for sharing. Sorry that was a little heavy, but I hope that maybe lit a fire under you a little bit. Thanks for interacting with me, and I appreciate your comments and feedback. I look forward to sharing with you some more about this as we dig just a little bit deeper in this issue. Bye-bye for now.